गजानना हे गजानना, गजानना हे गजानना, गौरी नंदन गजानना, गौरी नंदन गजानना, गौरी नंदन गजानना, गजानना हे गजानना, जय जगवंदन, शिवनंदन जय जगवंदन, हे शिवनंदन जय जगवंदन, हे शिवनंदन जय जगवंदन, विद्या बुद्धि प्रदायका, पतिपुरीश्वर गजानना, पतिपुरीश्वर गजानना, पतिपुरीश्वर गजानना, पतिपुरीश्वर गजानना, गजानना हे गजानना, नंदन गजानना, गौरी नंदन गजानना, गजानना हे गजानना, गजानना हे गजानना, हे शिवनंदन जय जगवंदन, हे शिवनंदन जय जगवंदन, विद्या बुद्धि प्रदायका, विद्या बुद्धि प्रदायका, परम निरंजन मूषिक वाहन, परम निरंजन मूषिक वाहन, पतिपुरीश्वर गजानना, पतिपुरीश्वर गजानना, पतिपुरीश्वर गजानना, पतिपुरीश्वर गजानना, गजानना हे गजानना,
Beautiful smile.
11 o'clock.
For some, it was a gentle reprimand.
Om Shri Sai Ram. Respected elders, my dear brothers and sisters, welcome to the 10th Samarpan session of Sai Samarpan in Toronto. Today, it's our good fortune. We have Professor Sundaresan sir, a very beloved teacher from Brindavan, who all of us are very fond of and fondly remember, who would be addressing us. It's my humble duty to say a few words by the way of introducing him, although he needs no introduction. Without much ado, I would like to say a few words. Professor Sundaresan is the son of Srimati Rukmini and Sri Neelakantan. Being a native of Bengaluru, he had the first darshan of our beloved Bhagawan in 1966 at Prasanthi Nilayam. He joined the first batch of Sri Sathya Sai Balvikas from Ulsoor Samithi in Bengaluru. As a student of Balvikas, he was fortunate to witness the inauguration of Sri Sathya Sai Arts and Science College on 9th June 1969 at Brindavan. He joined Swami's college in 1977 for graduation and thereon completed his MSc in chemistry from Central College, Bengaluru in 1982. He was blessed to receive the PhD degree and the gold medal from the Divine Hands in 1988. In 1991, Swami has personally asked Professor Sundaresan to shift to Brindavan campus and serve as faculty member. He served there without even going for vacations until Swami's Mahasamadhi. Later, he visited 14 countries to witness Swami's glory and several world-class universities. He is an outstanding scholar of organic chemistry, coupled with 40 years of teaching experience, and has published 27 papers in renowned journals in the world. Currently, he serves as the director of Brindavan campus, dean of research at Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, and a member of American Chemical Society. An avid cricketer, photographer, and researcher, Professor Sundaresan is associated with costumes and makeup of the convocation dramas since the inception of the institute. Swami has blessed him with the Best All-Rounder Award from Brindavan Hostel in 1980. With those few words, I would now request Professor Sundaresan sir to address us. Jai Sai Ram.
I invoke Swami's blessings, love, and grace. It's my privilege and a great opportunity to share my experiences with all the blessed devotees who are listening now. Swami has said, the only glory is a story, and the only story is his glory. When you listen to my story, you forget the story of the world until there is no other story for you to relate or live by. I'm reminded of a beautiful letter which Swami had written to one of the devotees several decades back. I will try to recollect the contents of that letter. There was no one to know who I am till I created at my pleasure with one word. Immediately mountain rose up. Immediately rivers started running. Earth below and sky over its head. Ocean, seas, lands and watersheds. Sun, moon and desert sands sprang up from nowhere to prove my existence. Come all forms of being, speaking, hearing, flying, and all powers are bestowed upon them under my orders, and my first place was granted to mankind. Come one, come all, let us not be ungrateful called. Let us love in, and love in. Baba. I recollect this whenever I share my experiences with the devotees. It is so wonderful to recollect those beautiful, precious moments I had with the Lord of the universe. I had the good fortune of being in a family with strong spiritual moorings. I'm proud to say that I belong to the first batch of Balvikas students. I'm also fortunate that I was born in Bangalore because in those days, Swami used to stay in Brindavan for a very long time. And having been in Balvikas, I used to come very often to Brindavan and had a good fortune of having the darshan, sparshan, and sambashan of Swami because our Balvikas group is to sit separately in Brindavan. It was in the year 1977. I had the good fortune of being a student of Swami's institution. In fact, I had applied for 11th standard for the Sri Sathya Sai Arts and Science College, but since I was very much interested in cricket, I did not join. In fact, I should say I was a cricket addict and my ambition was to become a test cricketer. It is said man proposes and God disposes. God knew that is not my way of life. So he brought me to his lotus feet at the age of 17. I should consider this one of the greatest blessings in my life. It was such a wonderful time we had with the Lord. It is said Prasanthi Nilayam is the office and the Brindavan is his playground. Verily, it's the same Krishna who's come again to give joy to his devotees. I shall recollect a few experiences when I was a student. One day, Swami came out of his old bungalow. The students used to stand in front of the bungalow. Swami asked one of the boys, "Where do you come from?" And Swami used to ask another boy, "What did you have for breakfast in the morning?" And it's such a wonderful session. As Swami was speaking to some of the boys, Swami waved his hand and created 5 pendants. Swami gave it to the blessed boys. One side it was Swami's bust, the other side it was inscribed Om. In one of the boys' pendant, Om is not inscribed. After a few days, Swami asked the boy to give the pendant. So Swami took the pendant from him and showed it to others that there is no Om inscribed on the other side of the pendant. Swami asked the student, "Do you want the Om to be inscribed?" Swami took the pendant, just tossed it up, and immediately the Om was inscribed on the pendant. And Swami revealed, "There are angels waiting to do my work instantly, but I'm giving you chance so that you can sanctify your lives. I don't need any one of you. It is out of his bountiful grace and mercy," Swami said, is giving all of us a chance to elevate ourselves to greater human plane. Those days I used to read books on saints and sages. I had read Bhagavatam and my love for Krishna increased enormously. The olden days, we didn't have any music. Many of the older devotees will recollect that in Prasanthi Nilayam, before Swami used to come, the 80s, music used to be played, and we know Swami is coming. In the 90s, maybe the Vedam started, but in the early 70s, we don't know when Swami will come out of his bungalow. So all the boys used to stand in front and wait for Swami's darshan. I was still in the hostel, and suddenly there was a lot of activity, and I could see from the window of my hostel that Swami had already come. So I rushed, I went there with intense love for Krishna in my heart. So as soon as I reached the Brindavan, the bungalow, Swami just looked at me and immediately Swami posed like Krishna. Swami took one of his leg and placed it on the other side. It was just for a few seconds. He reflects what is there in your heart. A few weeks later, when I was reading books on the saints of Maharashtra, again, an intense thought came that what a good fortune it is that I am with the same Panduranga. So, with that intense feeling, again I went for darshan, and Swami was keeping one of his hand on his hip. So, as soon as I went, Swami saw me and took the other hand and kept it on the other side of the hip, meaning is the same Panduranga was come. There's so many instances which I can relate, but due to paucity of time, I shall just confine myself to few of the experiences when I was a student. One day in the month of July, Swami came and asked the students who are all interested in joining the Bhagawan drama group. So many of the boys put up their hand and Swami himself selected. Swami said, you come, you come. And I was also very eagerly waiting that Swami will select me. But unfortunately, I was not selected. So it's but natural that we feel very bad. Such a great opportunity has been lost. But Swami has his own time for each one of us. God delays are not his denials. I shall recollect this a little later. 10 years later, Swami fulfilled this. In the meanwhile, there were so many cultural programs in the college those days, and I was part of the sets group, which makes the backdrop and other props for the drama. It was in the year 1980 when I finished my BSc course in Swami's institution. Few days before the exam, to be precise, on March 30th, when I was serving tea in the hostel to the boys, generally the teachers, some of the teachers, students serve in the dining hall. Even till today, the practice is there. The students and the teachers also are there when we serve other students in the dining hall during the dining hall sessions. So I was serving tea, and suddenly there was a lot of murmur around, and the boys were saying, Swami had selected a few boys for the best all-round student, and Sundaresan name is not there. So that whisper became louder and louder, and I heard it. And never did I ever think that why I was not selected. Because I was very quiet, I hardly used to talk to anyone, and boys felt that I should be one of the recipient of the all-round gold medal. God does his own ways. And never a thought crossed my mind that I was deserving. I just thought, what the other students, Swami has selected 5 students. I thought what the other students would have done to earn Swami's grace and mercy. So positive thoughts filled my head. Never, I thought, why I'm so quiet. I should call it, I don't know. Apparently, I follow all what Swami says because there's so many things which you need to follow. And never a negative thought came why I was not selected. Swami also knows your feelings. Maybe he wanted to test me how I feel within. Since he is the resident of all our hearts, he knows our innermost thoughts. After a few minutes, maybe after around 5:30, suddenly the warden comes and says, Sundaresan, you have been selected as one of the best all-round students. And mysteriously, one of my classmates' name was dropped. This is how Swami has some surprises for you. We need to wait patiently for his plan, for our plan according to will to unfold. That was a day prior to my birthday. And Swami had told all the students those days, after your BSc program, you can leave, you can go and join elsewhere for your post-graduation. That time we didn't have the post-graduation program in the Prasanthi Nilayam uh, college. And Swami had specially blessed all five of us who got the Best All-Round Student Award to stay back in the hostel and pursue our post-graduation program in Bangalore University. So daily I used to traverse from Brindavan to Bangalore, and after 2 years, I finished my post-graduation from the Bangalore University, and then I joined for my PhD in the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. In fact, in the year 1982, the formal post-graduation program started in the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. On July 22nd, because Swami made me wait after my post-graduation was over from Bangalore University, I didn't know what to do, but I was very, very determined that come what may, I want to be with Swami. Sincere prayers are always answered. So Swami takes care of your welfare, but we need to have patience. And the warden used to come and tell, Swami has told you, all the five of you, to go out and seek either some employment or you can pursue your higher studies. And Swami just wanted to test whether we are firm in our determination to stay back. So it went on like this for several days. And on July 22nd, Swami called three of us. Two of the five boys had gone out. They wanted to pursue some other course, and only three of us are remaining. On July 22nd, in the morning, Swami called the three of us who stayed back, and Swami said, you go home. If there is any opportunity, I will write a letter and send word for you. And Swami asked the first student who was there. Swami said, take namaskar. Then he took namaskar and Swami gave him Vibhuti Prasadam. One more of my classmate, he also took hesitatingly namaskar and Swami gave him Vibhuti Prasadam. And third was my turn to take Swami's blessings. Swami said, take namaskar. I refused to take. Because generally, namaskar, Swami used to bless and say, you go out. So that was, I said, inside me, the lot of thoughts were troubling the sense. Because Swami had said earlier, make the best use of this opportunity. Even countless births will not get back this great good fortune. So the thoughts were inside. And with that thought, I said, Swami, let your will be done. Then Swami said, you don't know namaskar? I'm going. So there's a mischievous smile, but I couldn't see that mischievous at that point of time because I was very tense. And immediately Swami came so lovingly said, take namaskar. So I took namaskar. I knew that once you surrender to his will, he takes care. In the evening, Swami called Sri Chakravarti Garu, was the first registrar of the institute. And he said, Sundaresan can join the PhD program under Professor Krishna Swami. As I told you earlier, my love for Krishna became intense after I read the Bhagavatam. I saw Swami as the Sai Krishna himself. And incidentally, my research guide was Professor Krishna Swami. He had not yet joined, but Swami had already fixed him as my research guide, and I went to Prasanthi Nilayam. It was such a wonderful feeling. I joined the Prasanthi Nilayam hostel on August 1st, 1982, and I was blessed to be in Prasanthi Nilayam for 9 years. It was such a wonderful experience to be with the Lord. I had the good fortune of being 5 years in Brindavan that time. Then from 1982 to 1991, I was in Prasanthi Nilayam. The year 1988, I completed my PhD program. Swami himself gave the gold medal to all the research scholars who had completed the research program. And Swami said, you can work as a lecturer in the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Prasanthi Nilayam campus. Being a very senior teacher, I was taking care of the post-graduation being in the hostel. And we had some fantastic experiences. In the year 1985, during Swami's 60th birthday celebrations, I was given the duty of being near the stage and allowing all the VIPs to enter the stage. I was the only one. There were lakhs of people in the ground. Shanti Vedika was so beautifully decorated, and behind there's a door which leads to the stage, and I was positioned there. On that momentous occasion, the evening for the Jula function, Swami came, the car stopped. Swami was in white dress and had the good fortune of, as Swami passed, his hair touched my face. I thought it's a great blessing. Lakhs of people in front, I was just alone behind, and I felt it was a great good fortune. I was also blessed to take Arati for Swami after the program in Mandir. So somebody had took my position and I rushed to Mandir, and after the program, Swami returned back to the old Mandir and had the good fortune of taking Arati. So it was a 60 lamp Arati. Unfortunately, I don't even have a photograph of that event. Though many would have clicked, still I'm praying that someone would give me the photograph. It's almost now 1985 and 2000, it's 2022. Swami has his own ways of fulfilling your desires. As I said, July 1977, Swami had picked up boys for the Bhagawan drama. In the year 1987, and I was pursuing my PhD program, Swami had told Professor Nanjundaya, who was then the controller of examinations, to find out if the research scholars are willing to be actors in the Bhagavan drama. He came and asked me, Sundaresan, are you ready to be part of the Bhagavan drama? I was so excited. And then we had the Bhagavan, I was part of the Bhagavan drama. I was given the role of one of the disciples of Shankara. 10 years later, Swami fulfilled the dream. In 1977, when Swami picked up a few boys, I was depressed because I was not selected. But in 1987, Swami gave me the good fortune of being part of the Bhagavan drama as an actor. God delays are not his denials. In the year 1988, we staged the Bhagavan drama in Shanmukananda Hall in Mumbai. It was such an elevating experience to be with the Lord in Mumbai for, I think we were there for nearly 4 to 5 days. Swami asked me to shift to Brindavan. I was a severe asthmatic patient. Then I was in Prasanthi Nilayam. 3 times was very serious, and I had not told those to any of my family members. They don't know that I had a severe asthma problem when I was in Prasanthi Nilayam. In fact, in one of the occasions, Swami called and asked me how my asthma problem was. Then I said, Swami, I take medicines every day. It was in the year 1986. Swami had taken all the research scholars to Kodaikanal. Swami called all the research scholars. He didn't tell us that he was going to take all the research scholars to Kodaikanal. Swami called all of us for an interview, and Swami casually remarked, "How's your health? How's your health?" Then when Swami asked me, I said, "Swami, my health is not good." Then Swami said, "All the boys who are healthy can come with me to Kodaikanal. Four of us who are not healthy," Swami said, "you stay back. In Kodai, the climate will be very cold. It may not suit your health." So I missed the chance to go to Kodaikanal. I was feeling very bad. It was such a great opportunity to be with the Lord. They stayed for almost a week or 10 days in Kodaikanal. And when I heard the experiences of my peers, tears rolled my eyes because it was such a wonderful experience. In the year 1987, Swami had taken the first batch of MBA students to Kodaikanal, and I was included in the list. And in the last minute, my name was removed as I was not keeping well. I had slight bout of asthmatic attack. In the year 1988, I completed my PhD degree, and again I was included in the list. Swami came, I was sitting in the bhajan hall in the month of March. That's the time when the students who are going to Kodaikanal will be selected, and they will be secretly told that they are blessed to be part of the group which goes to Kodaikanal along with Bhagawan. So Swami came and asked me in the bhajan hall, "How's your health?" Few days before, I had slight asthmatic attack, and I thought I shouldn't tell the Lord that I had. When Swami asked, I was fine. So I thought I shouldn't tell anything. I just smiled. And immediately Swami knew. And Swami didn't say anything. And that year also I was not taken. I felt very bad because I already finished my post graduation. I was free. And intensely I was praying that I should get a chance to go to Kodaikanal with Bhagwan. Again in the year 1989, my name was there, and towards the end, my name was deleted. 1990, Swami did not go to Kodaikanal, and 1991, Swami asked me to shift to Brindavan. He gave me 1 week's time to decide because I was taking care of so many activities in the hostel. Since being the senior most teacher, I was fully in charge of the post graduation wing as a wing teacher. I was involved in the sports and cultural activities, very actively involved. And as I told you, I was not selected for the Bajgoindan after I joined the sex group. And from 1979 onwards, I've been associated with costumes and makeup for the cultural activities. So I was very intimately connected with so many activities, and people didn't want to leave. So many of the students told, "Sir, please don't go." We had students from 8th standard till PhD in the senior boys hostel. Now it's called the senior boys. Those days we didn't have a separate hostel for the school boys. So 19 in the year uh, 1991, the month of July, month of it was, I think it's the month of July, somewhere June, July, June 29 to be precise. I got a official letter from the administration that I should shift to Brindavan campus. The following evening, I went and sat in Mandir to seek Swami's blessings. Swami came very near, and then Swami didn't talk to me. So the next day morning again, I went to Mandir in the morning. There were very few people sitting in the portico. And Swami came and asked, "Do you want to go to Brindavan?" So I told Swami, whatever you will. Swami said, no, what is your intention? Are you willing to go or you want to stay in Prasanthi Nilayam? I didn't say. Every time when Swami asked me, I said, Swami, whatever you will. And this went on for a few days. And many of the students thought Swami had taken a decision not to send me to Brindavan. Because as a teacher, I was strict, but at the same time, I was very loving. Boys were very happy that Swami had not yet taken a decision. So after 4 days, Swami called me and the warden, Mr. Sundaresan, who is currently the controller of examinations, was a warden that time. And Swami called me inside. And I had a good fortune of being with the Lord for more than 45 minutes. Only I was sitting in front in the interview room. The warden was on the other side. And just looking at Swami with folded hands. And suddenly Swami slightly tickled my hand. And Swami said, make use of this great and a unique opportunity. Immediately I knew that Swami wanted me to touch his feet. So instead of doing Pada Seva, I took both palm and both feet of Swami was on my palm. For 45 minutes, I had a great good fortune of keeping Swami had kept both his feet on my palms. And it's such a wonderful experience. And then Swami also told me, I know what troubles you have undergone when you were a student. Swami is always there. And Swami suddenly said, why did you get married? Then I was just looking at Swami and smiling. Then he himself said, yes, you didn't have the thought. Your mother had asked you to get married, but you are against it. I know you have intense love for Swami. And Swami said, your marriage is already over with the divine. And it's such a wonderful experience that coming from the Lord himself. And the next day morning, and Swami also told that you are like a flute, hollow like a flute. And Swami said, why are you still holding the flute? Give it to me, I will play the divine music. So it was such a wonderful experience. And the next day, I was supposed to leave Prasanthi Nilayam to Brindavan. And the interview, Swami called me along with the other devotees. I was sitting near the door and Swami was sitting on the chair. Swami suddenly called me. There's very little space near the chair where Swami is sitting. I could just squeeze myself and Swami immediately created a ring. So this is the ring which Swami had created. And immediately after it created the ring, I thought I should go back to my place because there were very less place. Devotees were sitting in the room. And I was just trying to see how I could go back again without disturbing the devotees. And suddenly Swami said, go, sir, sit on the chair. I was wondering, there's no chair, there's only one chair in the interview room. Little did I realize it was in the year on July 7th, 1991. I didn't know why Swami said, for what Swami said, go, sir, sit on the chair, till Swami blessed me with the responsibility of being the director of the Brindavan campus after the Golden Jubilee celebrations in 2019. God has his master plan. I had a good fortune of witnessing the inauguration of the Sri Sathya Sai Arts and Science College on June 9th, 1969. Little did I realize that Swami will give the great, unique fortune of being the director of his hallowed institution. In fact, I'll also tell you, currently I'm director of the Brindavan campus, also Dean of Research. In fact, when I was doing my 12th standard in one of the junior colleges in Bengaluru, way back in the year maybe between 75 and 77, I was very quiet. I hardly used to talk to my classmates. and classmates nicknamed several of me. Some of the classmates nicknamed several of us. As I was nicknamed as Dean. So as I told you, I joined for my undergraduate program in Swami's institution. It was part of the Bangalore University those days. And as I told you, I pursued my MSc chemistry from the Central College, Bangalore. One of my classmates nicknamed me as Dean. And after I finished my post graduation, I joined for my research in Prasanthi Nilayam. And one of my students whom I taught in MSc later on pursued his PhD program. He started calling me Dean Sir, Dean Sir. I didn't know that one day I'll become the Dean of Research. I had superannuated in 2020, and within a fortnight, the Vice Chancellor said, I want you to take up the position of a Dean of Research. Earlier, we had Dean of Sciences, Dean of Management. So the new post was created, a Dean of Research and Dean of Education. And Vice Chancellor insisted that you should take up the position of research. I was a little hesitant, but I knew that Swami had a master plan. He had already fixed what I should become, because he's the one who fixes all our activities. He is the one who's the indweller. He knows the entry, the exit of all the living beings on this planet and in the cosmos. It was in the year I was in Brindavan. As I told you, after 1991, I was taking care of the dietetics department. We prepare special food for the sick boys. Along with me, a few boys help in preparing special food for the sick boys. I was taking care of the dietetics department in the hostel. And during Swami's 70th birthday, nearly 70 boys were sick. 45 boys were in the ward in the Sathya Sai General Hospital in Prasanthi Nilayam. And I was taking care of all the sick boys. Many boys had viral fever, and other boys had typhoid. I, along with other 5 students, those days the food was not served at the hospital. We had to get it from outside. So we got the food from the Sathya Sai Senior Boys Hostel, Prasanthi Nilayam. And it's a very Herculean task to take care of the boys, 45 boys at a time. Totally, they were 70. And I was taking care of the boys. After a few days, I had high fever, but I didn't know that I had high fever. As I was taking care of one of the boys, the sick boys, student was helping me, just came near me and suddenly touched my hand and said, Sir, it is so hot, you have fever. And immediately I was diagnosed and had typhoid fever. In fact, 2 days I had high fever, but I didn't know that I had high fever. I was taking care of the boys from morning till evening. So when you do God's work, He ensures that you don't have problems. He takes care. Even though you be going through some problems, He ensures that you're fine. And I was asked to take rest. I was diagnosed with typhoid. After a few days, the third year students of the college came with a get well card. So all the classmates signed in the card and said get well card, and then gave it to me in the hospital. You won't believe, next day I was fine. So God always responds to sincere prayers. So when you pass through problems, He ensures that you pass through the problem, but you don't realize that you're passing through the problem. This is the grace of God. When you have this grace, it ensures that maybe you have to work out your karma, but at the same time, His grace ensures you don't feel the pain during that period. Swami gave me the unique chance of taking photographs. In fact, in India, it is 15th May, exactly 23 years back. I had the good fortune of taking Swami's photograph. I started taking photographs exactly this day, 23 years back. And what a coincidence that I'm speaking to all of you about it. Let me also relate some experiences regarding the photos and some of the experience I had while taking photographs of some very important personalities. Those days we had the SLR camera. After we click the photographs, we send the film roll for processing and we get it printed. It takes some time, it takes a few hours. I used to generally give to the Sevadal person who are amazing people. They used to take the film roll, go to city, get it processed, and get the photographs back. It takes a few hours. When then the Honorable Prime Minister Vajpayee came to Brindavan to seek Swami's blessings, I had the unique fortune of clicking the photographs because nobody is allowed, even the official photographers of the government are not allowed inside Trai. So I was there and I had purchased a Polaroid camera. So I thought I could click the photograph and instantly after a minute, the photograph will come and I give it to Swami. So I had tested this Polaroid camera outside Trai and it worked. And being a chemist, I didn't know exactly how it functions. So I went inside. Then after the interview, Swami and Vajpayee came out. So I used the Polaroid camera and clicked. So I was just waiting few seconds, and it didn't. Photo didn't appear, and suddenly Vajpayee said, "Humko bhi dikhaye. Come and show the photograph to me." And Swami called me, "Come." Then I took the Polaroid. Unfortunately, it didn't develop. Little did I realize that it needs sunlight for its development. So well, very bad. Immediately I went, took my SLR camera and clicked photograph. Maybe a little later, towards the end of the program, I have a lot of photos to show you and also relate some of the experiences. It was in the year 2000, on April 26th. We had a function in Sai Meshal in Brindavan. Srimati P. Sushila and her party had the good fortune of performing on that day during the evening program. And I was the only photographer, and Swami said, "Come and click." Earlier, Swami had very jokingly said that you take longer time to click because we need to adjust those days SLR camera, and when you have a lens, we need some few minutes or few seconds to adjust so that we get the right focus. So Swami called me, I just went, and Swami very jokingly used to said, "Oh, you're seeing ladies through the camera." And I had this thought in mind, so I ran. 23 of them were there, and Swami was in the middle of the stage for the photograph. As I said, sometimes Swami had just jokingly told me and had the thought in my mind. I said, I shouldn't waste much time, I should immediately click. So I put the wide angle lens. I went there and they clicked some 2-3 photographs. It was not possible to see the photo because it was SLR camera. Now it's very easy. If you have a digital camera, you can click and maybe you can ensure the aberrations are to some extent taken care of. So I gave to one of the Sevadal person. He went to city that night, late night, and somehow requested the shop owner who had closed the shop to open again, process it. And I told him, please get 23 copies of the photographs because the 23 artists were there in total. And next day morning, very sincerely, he came and gave before Swami came out for darshan. So I had 23 copies of the photograph. And since thought had come that I shouldn't take much time in clicking the photographs, they were slightly out of focus. And I was not happy. There was no other photographer. But at the same time, I know how on the physical plane, Swami will be so happy when he gives photographs to his devotees. So when Swami came out of Trai, I just gave the photographs to Swami. I knew it was slightly out of focus. There's no way I could correct it And I didn't see it because it was not possible to see the photographs. And the all merciful Lord didn't want to tell that the photographs was not so clear, not very sharp. He just saw the photographs and said, Sundaresan, you wouldn't have taken this photograph. See, so loving Swami is. It doesn't want me to hurt. It doesn't want me to get hurt. He knew that I used to take very good photographs on that particular occasion because I had the thought in mind that I shouldn't delay taking photographs. The slight out of focus, and that's how Swami takes care. One day, I had the good fortune of being in Pune Chandra when the Dasara function, the Purnati day. I was sitting in the D, inside the D, and the Purnavati is going on. Swami was sitting on a small silver stool, and the fire was, they had put ghee, and in front of Swami there's fire, the and Swami saw me. I was sitting near the D, and Swami just blessed like this. I'd taken a beautiful this photograph. Swami was looking direct into the camera, and in front there's a fire, and Swami had kept both the hands in Abhayasta. I clicked the photographs and gave it to all. I printed around 25 copies and gave it to all the non-teaching staff in the administrative block of the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. So one of the staff member, he had met one of the faculty members in Anantapur campus. It was Gujarati New Year Day. So he didn't know what he wanted to wish her, a very senior faculty member. And then he had this photograph in his pocket, immediately took it and gave it to her. And later on, when I went to Prasanthi Nilayam, the month of January, he told me, sir, do you know, a miracle happened. The photograph which you gave, I gave it to one of the senior faculty members. And she related that when he gave the photograph, there's fire in her uncle's house in USA. So he said, though fire was raging, nothing has happened. Mysterious as the ways of God. So I really feel so blessed that Swami gave me a chance to click his photographs. Because whenever you have the Narayan Seva, so many of the downtrodden, they come and get blessed. And they are all very fortunate, some of them who are sit in the first line, because Swami himself serves whoever sits in the first line. So I used to take the photograph, and later on, maybe I printed the photo and gave to the beggar who was sitting outside. I feel so humbled that I could be a source of joy to that person. It's such a precious gift to them. And I also have taken photograph of the presidents and the prime ministers whenever they come to Brindavan. And I click the photograph and print and send it to them. And Swami has given this wonderful chance, is a great blessing to take Swami's photographs. Maybe a little later, I have several thousands of photographs as my collection. And though I was so eager to collect photographs, my penchant was to collect Swami's photographs right from my student days. Unfortunately, I couldn't afford a camera those days. How I wish I had a camera. I could have clicked some of most rare photographs in Brindavan. Let me again go back to the year 1977. I was mentioning about the Polaroid camera. It was in existence even that time. In fact, Swami used to take individual photographs with all of us those days. So Swami will be standing. So each student will go. After the photograph is clicked, within a minute, the Polaroid camera is to develop and Swami is to give to us. Even there, Swami is to ensure he drives a lesson to all of us. He said, the world is Jagat. It's called Jagat. You come and you go. Swami said, all of you belong to the world. You come and go. I'm the one who's permanent. So even that small instances, Swami is to drive home a great lesson for all of us. He said, only God is permanent. All of you are temporary. You come and you go. Let me just relate a few experiences relating to the dramas. Had a good fortune of, as I said, being part of the costumes and makeup. It was in the year 1995. Greek devotees were blessed to stage a drama in Prasanthi Nilayam. And the theme Ramayana was the theme of the drama. All were not NRIs, but they were all Greek people. Swami gave them a wonderful chance. And Swami called me and said, take care of their costumes. So there was Sita, one of the gents, was a professor of economics, would come to Prashantham several times. He acted the role of Sita. In fact, they called Sita as Mrs. Rama. And during the Vanavasa, I didn't know exactly what costume to stitch. So Swami himself called me, and inside, Swami was staying in Pune Chandra at that time. So Swami called me inside, and Swami gave two of his robes, slightly different shades. It was not the same shade because so many slight shade variation is there. You would have seen Swami wears from white to nice, beautiful saffron to I don't know, there are fantastic shades there. And Swami gave two of his robes and said, you stitch both of them, and you go and give it to one of the Professor Gangadhar Shastri's wife. He said, go and tell her to stitch ready-made sari. It becomes easy for them to stitch. So I went, I got the sari stitched, ready-made, and then I gave it to Swami. So during the rehearsal, he was wearing, and Mrs. Anjali Devi and P. Sushila were sitting in Mandir. So Swami sent word. The rehearsal was in the Pune Chandra auditorium, and the elderly devotees came, and Swami was saying, see, double color sari. Because there are two different shades of Swami's robe. You're saying, see, two double color sari. And it's so wonderful. And in the year maybe around 1999, I was also part of the drama. Even in the drama, there were Pancha Pandavas in exile. So Swami called all of us inside the interview room. And two of the boys were supposed to be dancers in the drama. Swami asked both of them, do you know the difference between Kuchipudi and Bharatanatyam? In fact, they were novice to dancing. That's a greatness in Swami's institution. Many of the students were not learned music, not learned any art forms, come here with Swami's grace. They do some extraordinary work, which I have seen for the past 45 years. Some of them don't know even the rudiments of music, but they become excellent actors, excellent musicians, excellent in so many different fields. Swami said, Swami, it was a great chance. So we just started learning. We didn't want to miss this great chance. Then Swami himself said, they said, no, Swami, we don't know the difference between Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi. So Swami himself got up from the chair. Swami gently lifted his robe little, and Swami said, slightly, Swami said, this is the way, this is a Kuchipudi. Swami slightly danced. Swami said, this is steps for Kuchipudi and this is steps for Bharatanatyam. We can't take, I didn't take my camera inside because generally it's for the only thing we can just recollect such beautiful golden moments. And one day I was tying, so those days we have students, all boys students, we dress them as some of the lady characters, the same boys. Some of the boys were very fortunate because Swami himself used to come and sometimes comb the hair, and Swami himself used to help in putting the costumes. So one day I was just trying the sari because it takes some time for trying the pleat. And Swami saw me there. He used to come behind whenever the makeup and costumes is being done. And Swami came near me and just I was watching when I was making the pleat. Swami said, hey, not like that, give it here. And Swami just came so beautifully, very fast. Swami made the pleat and tied the sari for all of the student. So such a golden, beautiful moments we had with Swami. And the 1995 recollecting again is so difficult to confine to one. And during the 1995, there are so many programs arranged for them. Swami had already fixed a date for the Ramayana drama to be enacted in Purnachandra Auditorium. For Swami didn't want to tell them. So Swami called me and tell all the Greek devotees, the actors, that there is no slot. It's not possible to have the drama before Swami's birthday. And only after Swami's birthday, if there is any slot, we can have the program. Swami told me in Telugu, and they don't understand Telugu. So Swami asked me to tell them. Swami is like a same Krishna Kamagin. He wants to indulge in mischief. And I told them, they all started pleading, Swami, please, Swami, please, Swami. And then Swami was so happy that, like small kids, they were all praying and pleading with Swami that they should be given a chance to enact the drama before Swami's birthday. Then Swami said, yes, surely Swami's blessings are there. I've already fixed a date. No, I only told him to see how you react. So this is how Swami used to play. Maybe now I shall show you some photographs and explain. I have thousands of photographs and not all of them I clicked. Swami, as I told you, from 1919 onwards, had the good fortune. I had clicked photographs in Brindavan. Let me tell you, I clicked photographs outside in Sai Rameshwar. I've clicked photograph in Kodaikanal. I've clicked photograph in Puttaparthi. But somehow in Brindavan, inside Trai, Swami is entirely different. Maybe one or two photos. I don't have all the photographs. Swami is entirely different in Trai. It's something extraordinary it is. Swami is so beautiful. I will now show you some of the photograph, and wherever it's necessary, I will try to explain. This is old Brindavan. You can see daily Swami used to interact with the students. Such a wonderful session. You have some of the guests here. And we used to have such wonderful sessions. Almost more than 1.5 to 2 hours, Swami will be sitting here, and all the boys had a great good fortune of being with the Lord himself. Before Swami used to leave, Swami used to wave to the students. You can see there that this is the car, and Swami is waving to the students. And this is the photograph. This is taken in old Brindavan, and I was there when Swami is doing this. One of my classmates clicked these photographs, and Swami said, do you know the significance of this? In many of the deities, you'll find this pose. And Swami said, do you know what this means? So boys didn't know what to answer. And Swami said, either you follow Swami's instructions and move up, or you fall down. That is in the worldly plane. On the spiritual plane, Swami said, you take refuge at my feet and I will protect you. So, all this, it is so beautiful that in every instance, Swami drives over the lessons for us to learn it all up us. And this is the photograph taken during the Ooty summer course in 1976. Swami created a medallion. You can see there, India, and there's 18 different spots. And I had the unique fortune of having a recording of the Ooty summer course. And I had a written text of this. I should read so that it becomes, I don't want to miss out some of the things which Swami had mentioned in the discourse. It's a very rare a discourse I had shared with many of the students over the years. And let me just read out, have the text of this. Embodiments of divine Atma. What the future holds is beyond your sight and understanding. You may not be able to realize this, but they are very clear before my eyes. After Swami created this silver medallion, Swami said, in this is contained details regarding the establishment of centers of righteousness. This body will exist for another 46 years. Swami had told that time. The activities which will take place in the next 46 years are already engraved in this. That apart, the names of the students and the states in which I shall establish them have also been mentioned here. If amongst you there is anybody who can read Sanskrit, you are welcome to read this. It was in a Devanagari script. I'll just read only part of it because it's not a full discourse. And Swami also mentions, you young people must play an active part in this, the reviving of the glory of Bharat. Ramakrishna had a few young men like Vivekananda, Brahmananda, etc. But you all need not embrace an aesthetics life like them. You may lead a life like ordinary young men, but it stand as ideal teachers for the world to follow. Then Swami showed the medallion to all the students and the blessed devotees. Swami again mentions, when Sai is yours and is always with you, why do you anchor after all these things? Everything will become very easy. Hence, do not fall for these things. Swami is just mentioning about the medallion. When he who has made this is with you, so near and dear, you need not spend your time thinking about other things. Swami will take care of the methods to be employed and how they have to be employed to mold you into ideal ones. I will definitely elevate the future into realms of glory that will surpass that of the past. Since ages, things have been in fluid state. You will be witness to the change that will be brought about. You will see things as clearly as reflection in a mirror. You will have the opportunity to see various forms of Swami. Make sincere efforts not to lose those chances. Grasp them, foster them, safeguard them, and safeguard them with all your efforts. This is more than enough. I have firmly resolved to revive the ancient glory of the culture and traditions of a land in the near future. I'll just skip some of them. I will just read the last part. A valuable diamond is subjected to several trying procedures to enhance its value. Resolve to render suitable service and step forward now. In future, it will not be possible to obtain such chances. You will not be able to stay as close because millions of people will make their way here. Such days are fast approaching. Therefore, from today, recipients of Swami's grace, love, and compassion, be recipients, and by entering into service activities, sanctify your lives. A valuable diamond is subjected to several trying procedures to enhance its value. The more number of cuts, the more will be its value. Creepers will bear beautiful flowers, need to be pruned to beautify them. Similarly, there are some people in this world who cannot stand the popularity of Sai organizations and lofty ideals and principles of Sai. Will try to obstruct by way of criticism and false propaganda. That this process cannot be stalled. The more they ridicule and criticize, the more will be the glory and grandeur, and quicker will be the pace with which noble things will be spread far and wide. Do not give importance to this. The members of Sai organization must set their eyes firmly on the goal, take the task as holy commandment and attain the goal. Having come here and received such a sacred opportunity, You must plant this in your heart and safeguard it. Without much delay, make sincere efforts to participate in all future undertakings and put into practice these sacred principles. So Swami had mentioned about this in the year 1976. See, this was the medallion which Swami had created. In fact, Swami said which student, which head, which spiritual center is also written in this. Many of the Swami students are already occupying some positions in the Sri Sathya Sai Seva organization. It is so heartening to note they're all very intimately associated with the activities of the organization. This is the photograph taken in Trai Brindavan when Srimati Bandari Naike, the Sri Lanka president, had visited Swami in the early 2000. There's nobody. She was sitting in the interview room, and in the round hall of the Trai Brindavan, there is no one. So Swami, after the interview, came out through this door. Before he opened the screen, he just opened it little. Only I was there with the camera, and only Swami face was visible. I was little hesitant. That's why I couldn't click that photograph. And little later, Swami gently parted the screen. I clicked this photograph. And later on, Swami came out, and I took this photograph. So after I clicked this photograph, Swami said, "Bus." And then he went into the interview room and blessed Srimati Bandar Naike an interview. This was the photograph taken in Sai Ramesh Hall after the summer course. During the valedictory function, Swami created a ring for Praveen, who is currently working in the Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Medical Sciences as special secretary to the director of the super specialty hospital in Whitefield. He had secured first rank in the summer course examination, and Swami had created this ring. As you see there, I had the good fortune of being very near and had clicked this photograph. You can see how the green ring is emerging from Swami's hands. And if you recollect, I had just mentioned about the Polaroid. So Swami had saw this, and Vajpayee thought the photograph would have developed. Unfortunately, it didn't develop, and had to click the photograph a little later with my SLR camera. And this was in Kodaikanal. Maybe I may not have the time to relate it. I'll just show the photograph. In case time permits, I'll again come back to. This is the model which me and few of the students were the good fortune of going to Kodaikanal made for Swami on April. You can see the date there. It was a Trai Brindavan day, April 26th, 1993. Maybe I can very soon relate what happened. If you see there, you have some black. We didn't have pins. We are wondering what to do. We are just next to Swami's room, and generally whenever Swami comes, Swami used to talk to all the boys just outside Swami's room. So we were all, we had the good fortune of staying next to Swami's bedroom, the students and few of the staff members. I was a faculty member. And I, along with two other boys, were making this, and we wanted to present it to Swami before Swami comes out in the morning. And suddenly we found we were short of some pins. We didn't know what to do. And suddenly I had a thought. I said, why didn't you go to the kitchen and get some matchsticks? So I took the matchsticks, and then instead of the pin, I used as a matchstick. In fact, it was delayed. Generally, Swami used to come. As soon as Radhakrishna used to come out of the room, we know that Swami used to come within a few minutes. But that day, Swami delayed. Swami cannot physically see us, but Swami knew our hearts. We are all very tensed up that if Swami comes and if it's not ready, it won't be good. So I had a thought, and fortunately, we didn't know what to do. This is a thermocol model, and we were short of pins. So somehow I had an idea. You can see there. This is the matchstick. And as soon as we finished doing this, Swami opened the door. And this is one of the photographs taken in Kodaikanal. It was such a wonderful experience. Swami himself used to serve the students on many occasions. And boys used to take the plate, and Swami used to serve the item. And very soon the boys will gulp. It was a great, good, unique, good fortune. So they used to gulp as fast as possible and come and receive the prasadam in Swami's own hands as many times as possible. And this is the photograph taken in Brindavan. For a very long time, though I had taken so many photographs, I was praying that I should get a photograph Swami looking straight into the camera and Swami's feet, and Swami should be in Abhayasta. After several years of waiting, Swami gave this chance. Swami looking directly into the camera, and Swami is in Abhayasta pose with his feet seen. Said sincere prayers were always answered. So at the same time, God delays and not his denials. He gives you at the correct time. And this is again a wonderful experience. It was in the year April 15th, 2000. Swami had taken few of all the teachers of Brindavan and few research scholars who were staying at that time in Brindavan to Nagarholi forest. So I had taken my camera, as I told you, I started clicking photograph from the year 1999, and this was a great chance. We were going with Swami to Nagarholi forest, and all the boys were in the guest house along with Swami, and I was busy clicking photographs. There were two mini buses like this, and I was clicking photograph, and Swami said, all of you go and sit. So all the younger faculty members and a few of the research scholars went and sat in this bus. And I was clicking photograph because Swami is talking to some of the elderly devotees. And by the time I could go, the bus was full. And Swami was supposed to go into this bus. There was a chair for Swami. And I felt very bad that I missed a very unique and a great chance of clicking Swami's photograph inside the bus. There were two buses, and the first bus was full. I was asked to stay in the second bus. That's why I could take this photograph. See, this is a photo which I had taken. I was feeling very bad. What a unique fortune I have lost of taking Swami's photograph inside the bus, because I was in the other bus. Again, God delays and not his denials. Sincere prayers always answered. So we went round the Nagarholi forest in the morning, and in the itinerary, it was not in the itinerary that we'll be going again in the afternoon. And after lunch, Swami asked all the boys to have some rest, and Swami also went to his room. And two of us, myself and one more faculty member, we were all waiting outside Swami's room. And we didn't want to sleep. We don't know when Swami will come out. So I didn't want to rest. I was just waiting. And after maybe hour and a half, Swami came out. Some of the research scholars and few teachers are still resting. They didn't know when Swami came out. Swami is so happy. Swami said, you didn't sleep? No, Swami, you are waiting for you. Swami is so happy because these are the precious moments we cannot afford to wait. And Swami said, we'll go again on the bus. So this time, this was the photograph I had taken from a different bus in the morning. And I was praying very intensely that I should get one more chance. Maybe for my intense prayer, Swami said, we'll go again in the afternoon. So I was the first to go and occupy a pivotal position in the bus. So I didn't want to lose this chance. And then we all went round. You see this Swami getting down before bus, and I could get a pivotal position from where I could click these photographs. And there were a few elephants in distance. So somebody had given Swami a binocular, and I got this precious photographs. It's a very rare photograph I could click. Sincere prayers were always answered. God delays are not his denials. As I said, God has his own plans. So we need to wait patiently for his plan to unfold. And Swami used to love animals and birds because he is the one who created 84 lakh species. And these are the few fortunate birds and animals, millions and billions, which he has created to have this unique good fortune of being with the Lord. And this is in the Brindavan hostel. This was on September 6th, 1977. Swami said Krishna didn't have the crown always. Krishna used to wear a turban like this. Only when he was a king, he used to wear the crown. He used to have tie a turban like this, and used to have a small peacock feather. And if you see, I don't know if we can see it, this is the Kaustubam, which Swami created on that occasion, which Krishna's grandmother gave to Krishna. So this is the Kaustubam that Swami created. Nasagre Navamautik Vakchastele Kaustubam. There is a Sanskrit shloka which says Nasagre Navamautikam. So this is the one which Swami created on that occasion. Had the good fortune of seeing it at a very close distance. And as after the program, we had the good fortune of having dinner with Swami, and it disappeared. When all of us were having dinner, it disappeared on its own. We had rushed through. This is the deer which was born our back. They had cleaned the deer, and it was around 12 o'clock in the afternoon. Swami had already retired to his room. They had told Swami that one small deer was born. So Swami, after it was given a bath, Swami came down. It was in the year 1977. I was there when this happened. And Swami came and showered his love on this very, very blessed deer. And Swami said, this is a four-legged deer, and all of you are two-legged deers, DEARS. All these photographs were clicked in Brindavan in the 70s. We had rabbits, we had lovebirds, so many animals. This thing, we have cows, and this is Swami is resting on the cow's body. Sai Gita used to come very often to Brindavan. This is the Gokulam, where more than 40 cows were housed. So this is the old Brindavan. This is the Sathya Sai Arts and Science College. The erstwhile, now it's called Sai Krishna Kalyan Mandapam. This is where the college, erstwhile college started. And as I told you, I had the good fortune of coming to Brindavan right from 1966 onwards, and had the unique privilege of staying here. I'm currently staying in Brindavan in this room. It's a rare privilege that Swami had given me to stay very near us. So this is the room where I currently reside. And directly I can see the Trai Brindavan. This old Sairam shed is 1969. This is the place where Bernowski saw the aura. This is Swami's old bungalow. Swami used to give darshan in the morning. When Swami used to come out to his bedroom and go to the dining hall, some of us used to stand outside, and Swami used to, daily early morning, Swami used to give his darshan. This is an old bungalow in Brindavan, and this was the Swami's bedroom window. And I should also tell you about this student who is known as Chidanand Kumar. And we are different people have different love, and they express their love to Swami in so many different ways. As a student, we used to write letters. Many of the students used to write letters and give it to Swami, and the devotees used to write letters and give it. So whenever he used to write a letter to Swami, he used to keep a Cadbury's chocolate and give it to Swami. So our boys, those days, students nicknamed him as Cadbury Bhakta. This is old Brindavan. This is the Kaustubam which Swami had created. This is the turban that Swami had worn and shown how Krishna used to be when when he used to go with the fields. And this is the mandolin which Swami had given to me in 1993. You can see this, it's there in the YouTube. Swami gave me the fortune of playing mandolin in his divine presence. And Swami is seeing his weight. Swami is 54 kgs. And this is Swami sitting on the bonnet of the car. This was in the year 1977. And this is the photograph which was clicked in the year 1977. It's a first degree student. As I told you, we had a good fortune of having individual photographs with Swami. And Swami used to give the photographs to all of us. Maybe it's already time. I should just end my talk recapitulating one of the letters which Swami has written to the boys. I normally in my talk recollecting this beautiful letter which Swami had written. Sai is love, is kindness and compassion itself, is ever dwelling in the hearts of you all. True trusting means freedom from fear, worry, and anxiety. When you have such a Lord of the universe, why should you be anxious or worry about anything? Sairam, this is the great assurance that Swami has given for us and for posterity. And once we surrender to Him, He takes care of your welfare, not only your welfare, He takes care of the welfare of all your family members. Swami has assured that once you take refuge in Him, He takes care of all our needs and welfare. Sairam, I'm really very, very blessed to share my experience with Swami. Sairam.
Om Shri Sairam. I would like to quickly summarize and share what I've learned from your talk, sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful talk. While I fondly remember how sir has always been in action when we were part of dramas in Bhagawan's presence, I never had the fortune of attending your classes, sir, though I was a chemistry student in Prasanthi Nilayam campus. I'm glad I attended this Samarpan session tonight. Learnings are a plenty for life. As you started your talk with by stating Swami's letter to his devotees about this Jagat, about its manifestation, it reminded me of the Vedic dictum, Ekoham Bahusyam. As Swami tells, he is one in the beginning, and he multiplied himself into many out of his love. The five pendant story that you mentioned, sir, was very captivating and reminded each of us our fortune that Swami has given us in playing a very tiny part in his grand mission, despite several angels waiting there for his command. Your experiences of Krishna and Panduranga pose that Swami showed you out of your intense love reminded me of what Lord Krishna declared in Gita. Ye yata mam prapadyante tan stataiva bhajamyaham. In whatever way my devotees surrender unto me and think of me, O Arjuna, I reciprocate accordingly. And those incidents that you mentioned are definitely a proof of that. The episode where Swami called three of you on July 22nd, which you recalled, to return home, I thought you would go through a state of desperation to come back to his lotus feet. But your intense faith and love for Bhagawan reflected in that incident, which got you the PhD seat in his college, was very inspiring, sir. Thank you for sharing that incident. God's delays are not his denials, was the underlying current throughout your speech. And I'm sure all the listeners here would agree with me that our faith in the statement that God's delays are not his denials and he has a plan for each of us has intensified more than before for sure. Thank you also for sharing the rare photographs of Swami, sir, and the notes from his discourse in 1976. They are truly inspiring. We love them, and I also wish we were there when they were clicked. Your story has a starking similarity with the sweet relationship that Krishna had with his Gopikas and Gopalas. And hence, I believe he always kept you in Brindavan campus during your stay since 1991, June 29th. One thing that I observed is that, sir, you never had a will of your own and have always aligned with his divine sankalpa, in spite of whatever is the situation, right? Looks like that is one trait that I need to work on for sure to become closer to him. July 7th, 1991 episode reiterated that every word that comes out of his mouth is bound to happen. When he asked you to sit in the chair, it is delayed in our time scale, but for him it is only a matter of manifestation, and it is right time according to him. And true to his word, you became the director of Brindavan in 2019. Your talk, in short, has reminded us that he is the director and he decides every role, its entry, its exit, its length and breadth in his divine drama called life. All we need is to continue to follow his command without an ounce of doubt, with complete faith, and above all, continue to love his divinity in every move of our lives. Every episode you mentioned, sir, was filled with this message, And I think it is the secret to walk through this life peacefully in this Jagat, where we come and go, while He is the constant factor in this Jagat. Thank you, sir, for delivering such a wonderful talk that spanned across so many years. Your love for Sai Krishna is truly inspiring. What more certificate can be asked for other than the Lord Himself stating that your marriage is completed with divine? You have achieved the highest. It is more than a coincidence that your desire to become a test cricketer that you mentioned in the beginning, sir, is in manifestation and is still in play. You are in white dress, the dress code for test cricketer, ever since he called you, and you're still actively playing your role in his drama, 40 plus years not out. You didn't miss the bus for sure. Even Sachin Tendulkar, the greatest cricketer on planet, supposed to be, played cricket for only 20 years. Thank you, Swami, the divine director who granted this opportunity to be part of this satsang, Samarpan tonight. We love you, Swami, for all that you are for us. Thank you for having that thought, Ekoham Bahusyam, Swami. We are truly blessed. Thank you, sir. Thank you again for taking trouble in sharing all those pictures, rare photographs of Swami and your thoughts with us. Thank you. Jai Sairam. We will end this program with Mangala Arati. Sairam.
ॐ जय जगदीश हरे स्वामी सत्य साई हरे भक्त जना संरक्षक भक्त जना संरक्षक पति महेश्वरा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे शशिवदना श्रीकरा सर्वा प्राणपते स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते आश्रित कल्पलतिका आश्रित कल्पलतिका आपदान्धवा ॐ जय जगदीश हरे मातपिता गुरुदैवमु मरियन्तयु नीवे स्वामी मरियन्तयु नीवे नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नाद ब्रह्म जगन्नाथ नागेन्द्रशयन ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी हो साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती अंधुको मंगल आरती अंधुको मंगल गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु शांति शांति शांति। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई